Thank you. My name is Matt Gibson. Thank you. So this project is called St.Martins Lane, and it involves the adaptation to a Victorian terrace house within the municipality of the City of Melbourne. It resides on the corner allotment adjacent to laneway. Orientated north-south, the property is located in St Martins Lane on a smallish plot of approximately 5 by 30, quite refined or confined, and it sits in an eclectic medium-density pocket of South Yarra, tucked just behind the restaurant strip of Domain Road. And so this is the immediate neighbourhood. The Domain precinct, just 3 k's from the city, is reminiscent of medium-rise London with many 3 to 5 level residential buildings, and we see it as a bit of a precursor or a snapshot, if you like, of the future densities of some of Melbourne's inner ring suburbs. It's fairly heterogeneous in nature, so a mix of styles and types, and with heritage sitting with contemporary seemingly comfortably together. There's a number of wood marsh examples in there you can see. And this is St Martins Lane itself in the top, and St Martins Place behind it, which again, context-wise, has a mix of uses and types, many buildings harking back to an industrial past, grain stores and factories, and now housing art precinct buildings such as St Martins Youth Arts Theatre, which back onto the winding cobbled laneway behind. These are the existing floor plans, so portraying a small 2-bed terrace with a carport at the back and relatively no or very little private open space to speak of. The clients were a professional couple, two young kids who'd live internationally and just come back to Melbourne and were keen to live in a city, and hence to develop this site even though it was very confined for the long term. Whilst the property is in a heritage overlay, it was categorised as a D-grade building in a level 3 streetscape, so not too much concern there. Having said that, the neighbour had just been approved a 3-storey addition, and so when our client came to us, they pretty much knew as of right that they'd be building 3 storeys. As it is viewed from the side laneway, the heritage consultant was keen to have the regular provisions of having it set back, and discussed that if it was going to be 3 storeys, then a graded approach to moderate the scale and bulk was promoted. So these are our initial kind of design response sketches. Our client's brief objectives in summary were to provide a home that could facilitate a growing family of 4 to 5, and also cater for a purpose-built home office to cater for not only working from, but to bring clients in for face-to-face meetings. They both work largely from home, and to increase the amount of outdoor and living garden space for entertaining and to capture views with potential for car storage underground. So this meant essentially reducing the footprint at ground level and building vertically, allowing for the reinstatement of greater private open space and garden terraces. These are the floor plans. Situated adjacent to the laneway, the single most pivotal move of the project, and which set up the project, was the shifting of the front entry to the side of the building, the central side of the building. This assisted in giving back the front entry area to a functioning private open space, an outdoor breakfast zone, and ensured that the elimination of front to rear circulation corridors, which then opened up the whole of that ground level for living. The arrangement also allowed for a neat zoning of living on the ground level and sleeping on the second level, and then home office on the third. So on the second level there, you can see there's parents' quarters within the heritage building and kids in the new part. And then work from home is on the third level up in the new building, and then above that is you can directly access the. So I should say that the home office is directly accessed from the stair and from the front door, so you can kind of go up to that home office without having to enter the rest of the building. Then there's a rooftop garden on top, and then the green areas in that diagram down the bottom there just show the return to outdoor living space, which now takes up about 50% of the site area. Previously it was about 10. So in a clear conceptual diagram, old and new are separated via a new entry and glazed circulation stair, which mediates both buildings and floor levels. So essentially 2 separate pavilions. Considered almost a public space, the stair has full view of the laneway, activating it and providing a level of security and community connection. in a unique entry sequence that reminded us of higher density European neighbourhoods. Whilst unconventional, the act of navigating the side entry involves a series of thresholds and as one approaches and then actually enters the building. Whilst the view of the stair is possible direct on, oblique views into either of the pavilions or into the second entry alcove is not possible on the angle, but then opens up on the owner's release. And this kind of public-private dichotomy, we've been told by the owners, creates great interest and great connection with the neighbours, whom often use the laneway as a footpath, and has created engagement on the laneway that previously wasn't there. It was just a walled public space. The faceted profile of the building was derived from planning negotiations that promoted moderating the form. Clad in perforated metal rain screen, no windows or doors are visible above the ground level, enabling a facilitation of a singular abstracted sculptural object in the shadow of the original building, making a clear statement as new architecture. The laser cut motif playfully interprets the historic brick bond of the original building, articulating and decorating the facade in a similar way to that of Victorian filigree. The computer-generated motif cut into the skin is derived from the English garden wall bond patterning of the perpends of the three stretches to one header course and turned vertically. The frequency of perforation graduates in its openness and transparency toward the mid-level, allowing light and ventilation into the rooms behind whilst preserving privacy. This is just a bit of experimentation with the patterning and the transparency. We were keen to break down the mass, obviously, and articulate it and decorate it with a story or a connection back to the Victorian building. Back to the interior. So upon entry, this is looking back toward the front door, or the previous front door, which is reinterpreted now as without hallway as kitchen and dining spaces. And these spill out onto the breakfast courtyard, which facing south is used a lot in the summer. It's lovely with the doors open and shade and cool, nice and cool out there. As was shown in the plan, removing the hallway enables the use of the entire width of these rooms. And this is the view from the previous front door back to the kitchen and the stair interstitial space. And this is a view from the rear elevation through the living zone back to the central entry. And circulation through the building is via the central stair. There was a degree of difficulty in getting the 4-level building to plug into the 2-level building with the head heights and the like. This is a view on the left towards the main bedroom suite, and then conversely the view back to the other building, the kids' bedrooms, and above that is the workspace above and stair to the roof garden. These are some of the bedroom and bedroom and bathroom images, and then stair up to the roof deck. And so the roof deck, as well as other newly inscribed outdoor spaces, have given back to the client several options of private open space. And this actually gets used tremendously a lot in summer, and summer evenings you benefit from the borrowed amenity of the nearby gardens and in touching distance of the city, actually beautifully tranquil and quiet up there, even though it's so close to the city. The landscape was developed in collaboration with Eckersley Garden Architecture and will establish itself over time to merge with the tree lines beyond, giving a sense of intimacy and privacy on the roof deck. This, along with other landscaped ground level courtyards, has given the ground plane back to interactive use that encourage connection and with the amenity of the quiet pedestrianised laneway. In conclusion, St. Martins Lane celebrates a combined vision with this family, embracing urban density and elevated functionality, whilst integrating with the grittiness and grain of the laneway and the character of the neighbourhood.